Father Vogel. We continue our series on St. John Baptiste de la Salle's meditations in time of retreat, designed for teachers to reflect upon the vocation that God has given them in raising up the next generations of the faithful, new disciples. The seventh meditation, that the care of instructing the youth is one of the most necessary works in the church. So this meditation is all about how important the vocation of teaching really is. God, having chosen and destined St. Paul, as the apostle says, to preach the gospel to the nations, gave him such knowledge of the mysteries of Jesus Christ that he was enabled, like a good architect, to lay the foundations for the building of the faith and of religion which God raised up in the cities where Paul announced the gospel according to the grace that God had given him. He was first of all to preach in these places. That is why he says, quite justly, that those whom he announced the gospel are his work, and that he has begotten them in Jesus Christ. So, first, St. Paul, our first Father La Salle, is pointing us to St. Paul and the great ministry of work that he did in his missionary travels to different places, different countries, different cities in Asia Minor. And he says that to contemplate that work, because we're going to compare our work to theirs. He says, without comparing yourself directly to the great saint and keeping in mind the true position between the due proportion between your work and his, you can say that you are doing the same thing and fulfilling the ministry of your profession. So, the kind of work that St. Paul did in preaching and teaching the faith to new disciples in those cities is akin to the same thing that you do as teacher in passing on faith and knowledge to our young people. You must then regard your work, which has been entrusted to you by pastors and fathers and mothers, as one of the most important and necessary services in the church. So, think about that. That your work as a teacher is one of the most necessary of that in the church. This means that you are called to lay the foundation. This means that you are called to lay the foundation for the building of the church when you instruct children in the mystery of the Most Holy Trinity and the mysteries accomplished by Jesus Christ when he was on earth. So, we are to be the solid rock, the foundation, in building up the faith in the coming generations. For according to St. Paul, without faith it is impossible to please God, and consequently be saved and enter the homeland of heaven. Because faith is the foundation of the hope that we have. The knowledge, then, that each must have of the faith, the instruction that must be given concerning the faith to those who are ignorant of it, is one of the most important things in our religion. How much, then, must you consider it an honor that the Church has assigned you to such a holy and exalted work, to be chosen to procure for children the knowledge of our religion and of the Christian spirit. Pray to God that he will make you fit to fulfill such a ministry in a manner worthy of him. So in this meditation, Father La Salle is having us consider just how important the vocation as a teacher really is. Sometimes, it can go by as a thankless job, or there might be many of other higher paid jobs, or jobs that might seem more important than just teaching children. But he says this is one of the most important in our faith, to be able, because as we've been reflecting on in previous meditations, that they cannot come to know the gospel of the Lord unless someone is there to preach and to teach them that. So it is a very high position, those who are called to be teachers. So he says that, think of it's an honor that this is entrusted to each one of us to be a teacher, that the church is entrusting to us, the next generations of the faithful. Pray God that he will make you fit to fulfill such a ministry in a manner worthy of him. None of us are worthy of any of the vocations that God calls us to, including that of instructing the next generations, but with God's help, we can fulfill that which he has called us to. God bless.